Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen.
With me today is abundance teacher and money coach, Jody Lynn Craven.
This is your daily dose of happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today. Jody Lynn, we were talking before we got started, and I kind of surprised you because you knew I was working on the novel. You didn't know I finished it, did you?
No.
Oh, yeah. I actually finished that about 8 or 9 days ago, something like that.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, congrats.
We talked about writing
Wow.
it, and then we haven't come back to that topic. So I'm glad to hear.
And it was fun. It was really fun. For those who, I did announce it on a previous episode, but for those who missed it, it's called Sunrise Cafe. You can find it on Amazon. It's in both the Kindle and paperback form. And it's a takeoff of a short story I wrote back in August about the patrons of a coffee house and what their lives are like. And I figured that would make a really interesting story. So the novel is 20 chapters, and the first 18 chapters are stories about 18 of the people who are involved, the owner, the two baristas, and some 16, 17 customers of the cafe, and how they interact with each other and what their issues are and all that kind of stuff. So it's, if you ever imagine going into a Starbucks or something and wondering what the lives of everybody else there was like, this is how you find out.
Love it.
Wow.
So
Nice.
yeah, it was great. It was so much fun to do. Really, really fun to do. And a lot easier than the last one I wrote, because when you have the help of AI, boy, you can fly through stuff. It's just amazing what you can do.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, it's kind of tying into our topic today because we have Kris Keppeler joining us, and Kris is both an actor and a narrator. And
Yes.
narrators, among other things, they narrate books. So there's a definite overlap going on here. So let's
Yes.
find out more about her. Kris, first of all, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
We're glad to have you. And you were telling us before we got going that you've been an actor for, I think you said 30 years.
About
And
30
you've been
years. Yep.
doing narrating for the last 15 years.
About
How did you get
15
into doing
years.
that? Yeah. How did you get
Yeah.
started doing that?
The narration or the acting?
Either one. We'll start with
Either
one and then go to the other.
I started as a singer
Oh.
in junior high and in
Mhm.
choir. And I enjoyed singing. I really enjoyed singing and was constantly told I couldn't sing, would never sing. Well, but I kept at it because I like singing and I stayed in choir and I still got abused about it. And it's like, I started choir in junior college, and then the choir directors started giving lessons to some of the choir, students. And he's like, oh, maybe you can sing.
Oh. Right.
And so I took some more lessons, enjoyed it, and things didn't really, but I kept up with choir, got bored with choir. It's like you can only stand up so much in a black dress in a crowded space, it gets. Yeah. So I quit singing for 10 years, something like that. And it's like, I'd really like to go back to singing, and a blind date took me to a Gilbert and Sullivan production. And on the back of the program, it said, "We're looking for chorus members." And I'm like,
Of course it did.
well, I haven't tried
Zip
that. I haven't tried that. I'll try that. And it's like, whoa, I got to dress up as a fairy with wings and dance around on the stage. And it was a lot more fun than standing on a riser in a black dress with a lot of other people.
Right.
So it was, I enjoyed it. And then I started taking singing lessons again. And then, of course, I wanted to be at the front of the stage after a while.
Wow.
So then I had to take acting lessons, and it just snowballed from there. Turned out I enjoyed acting too. It was difficult to get started, but once I did and got the right teacher, I really started to love that too. So, and then voiceover, audiobooks are a natural segue for actors, especially if you like to play multiple characters. And voiceover is perfect for singers too. In fact, it's often recommended if you want to do voiceover that you take singing lessons.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, every time I step in front of the mic, I'm not only using my acting, but I'm using my singing technique.
uh-huh.
So, and I eventually went to sing operas. You'll never sing to. Oh, you can sing opera.
Wow.
Nice.
That doesn't usually happen.
Like, don't believe, especially, teachers at the lower grade levels, in junior high or high school. Don't always think they know what they're talking about.
Oh, it's even before that. I had a first grade teacher who told me I'd never be creative. So,
Oh no!
Wow. At grade 1, like,
Oh my
well,
God.
it was one of those deals where I was doing it well at everything, and they wanted to find a way to balance it off. So that's the way she balanced it off.
harsh.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
So here I am,
it's-
60 years later, and
Yep.
I've written 2 novels and a collection of stories, and I've run a podcast. Yeah, I'm not very creative.
not at all. No.
Plus, I wrote the theme to the song, to the show, and I played
Wow.
keyboard. Yeah, no creativity at all.
Take
Oh,
that,
man.
grade 1 teacher.
You know what the really wild part is? She was actually a really good teacher. She was also popular. I mean, to this day, students of that class are in touch with her via social media.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
I mean, it's not like she was a bad teacher. She wasn't. She was a very good teacher. It's just that she had her one moment.
Yeah, no kidding.
With
But it's
you.
good it didn't discourage you.
Well, it did at first.
It did at
It
first?
wasn't so much that it discouraged me. It convinced me. For the longest time, I thought I
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
creative.
I know.
Mm.
Yeah, for the longest time I thought I couldn't sing, but
Mhm.
you obviously didn't give up, and I didn't give up, and it things turned out well. Like it gets even because I was told that I was an alto.
What are you?
I'm a high soprano.
Really?
Yeah.
Oops.
Interesting.
Oops.
That was a real mindset.
So you're a
change
lyric
to me.
soprano?
Pardon?
You're a lyric
I'm
soprano?
a full lyric. Full lyric.
Full lyric. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a high range.
Yeah, and what a mindset change to go
Yeah, no
from
kidding.
thinking you're an alto to, oh, no, I know you're not. Like, what? But then trying to learn to get your head into that space
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
was, but I made it. And enjoyed it. And like I say, I certainly still use my singing technique all the time. It comes in really handy.
Wait, which one do you like better? Do you like acting better, or do you like doing voiceover audiobooks?
It's a toss-up.
Okay.
I like them both equally well. I wish I could do more acting,
Mhm.
but there's not a lot of it's not a lot of work up here
Mhm.
in this area for actors. So I'm more often able to do the voiceover, which I really enjoy. I really do enjoy the voiceover, especially the storytelling.
Mm.
So, but I do wish I could do a little bit more acting work.
I mean, well, both of them really do are they're both storytelling media. I mean,
Yes,
acting certainly
they
is
are.
storytelling media
Yes.
and medium rather, and voiceover is also a storytelling.
Yeah.
It's more direct
Yeah.
in that way. I mean,
Yes.
here I am. I am Madam Narrator. I'm going to tell you a story.
Oh, yes. Yep, and I get to work on my acting chops today. I have an audition. So
Fun.
Can we ask what it's for?
it's for a PSA about
PSA, okay.
cancer prevention. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, best of luck with that. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
A few years ago, another co-host and I and a couple others tried to get an audio, kind of like an old-time radio show series.
Yeah. Oh, I love those.
And we ended up only doing 2 episodes, but we did we brought in, God, we must have had a dozen to a dozen and a half actors of various skill levels playing all the
Uh-huh.
different roles, and
Oh,
it was absolutely nuts. I mean, and it was good. The episodes that we did actually came out really, really good.
oh, I
The real
bet.
problem is
Yeah.
we weren't really going anywhere with it, so we kind of lost the storyline. But other than that, it was great.
And it's a lot of work
It
to
is a
bring
lot
all
of work.
those people together, and wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
The multicast stuff is, a lot of work.
it's a ton. It's a ton.
Wow.
Well, it's actually my sister's field. She has her degree in theater, and she is in the
Oh.
process actually of setting up a community theater where she lives in Western North Carolina. So
Oh, nice.
once they get
Very
past
nice.
getting over the hurricane, that's what she's going to go back to doing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, they got hit pretty good with that.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
but they survived. That's the main thing.
Oh,
they're
yeah, that's
they're
good.
coming out the
Yeah.
other end. Yeah. Which is, by the way, it's also probably going to be the basis of a story somewhere along the line, because that's like the essence of drama, right? You have to
Yeah,
have
no
crisis
kidding.
event, and then there's a resolution that comes afterward, maybe some sort of a twist going on.
Yeah.
There's money coming out of that story.
Wow.
It's not like
Yeah.
they have to do a lot of inventing.
No. No, wow. That was scary to hear about. Yes. Yeah.
But nope, it's all working out for the best.
Oh, that's good.
So, okay, so let's talk about storytelling itself. It's a subject that is near and dear to my heart just because I finished writing a novel recently.
Oh, yeah.
So you're very aware of. I don't want to call it the rules. It kind of is the rules. There are sort of rules to storytelling that if you disobey the rules, you're going to end up with a lousy story. It's not a whole lot, but you have to kind of pay attention to them.
Yeah.
And one of them is there's got to be something that goes wrong in order to actually have a story.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything going on, it's not a story hardly.
No.
It might be a narrative, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But something has to go wrong, which kind of fits in with what we talk about a lot here, because we talk about most of our guests who come on are people who've been through some kind of a trauma or crisis or whatever, came out the other side, learned something from it, found they wanted to share it with the world, and so they end up on the podcast.
Yeah.
And it makes for a great story. No matter how slight or how strong or major or minor the crisis was, as long as it's there, that becomes the basis for drawing us in, because we are sucked in. Let's be honest, we're sucked in by negativity. We really are.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
And kind of for good reason, because that's where we do our best learning. We learn the most from going through the negative experiences, which, by the way, used to piss me off for the longest time, but that's another topic. So when you do your storytelling, to what extent does the negative story, the negative narrative going on, and whatever twists might be involved, to what extent are you focused on that when you're doing your characterizations?
I focus on what the character is feeling, the emotion at that moment, and bringing that out. Whether it's sarcastic or scared or, secret or, and I pay a lot of attention also to pacing, especially because I narrate lots and lots of comedy, of course, for my podcast.
Tell us the name of your podcast, by the way.
Yeah.
Does this happen to you?
Okay.
Yes. So I'm focusing on, it's usually first person, personal experience. Something has gone wrong, and it turns out funny for the most part, or amusing, but sometimes it's occasionally I have traumatic. And I've also done some fiction stories if they sound like they're first person, realistic. So, but mostly it's nonfiction. And I still have to do characters often on there. So again, it's the bringing out the emotion of that moment that the character is feeling. So yeah, cool. And then comedy, it's pacing. I need to, as I go along, do I need to pause here?
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to speed this up?
Mm-hmm.
Should I slow it down? Yeah, but I think in most narration, pacing is also a huge thing. Paying attention to the
Yes.
pacing with what's going on at that moment.
Pacing will help to drive the scene, really.
Yes. Yeah.
If your pace is quick, then it's becoming excited. If your pace is slow, there's something depressed or frustrated or stuck or something like that. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of mindset that's involved in that.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, mirrors real life. Huh? Who knew?
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to do, is make it sound real.
Yeah, right.
Yes, that's very one of the most important things, as that it sounds real, sounds authentic. Because
Are you a method actor?
I'm not.
You're not. Okay.
I haven't been exposed to. I got exposed in my acting to a lot of different techniques, and I never particularly adopted one of them.
Oh, okay.
I just sort of the school I went to mostly prescribes to living truthfully under imaginary circumstances.
Okay.
So and so I got a little bit of everything there, but probably haven't been exposed much to method, although I do rely a lot on how I feel as a character, how I feel when I'm in that scene.
Sure.
So I'm drawing from personal experience.
Right.
So and that has served me actually pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pretty well, yeah. I do a lot of I do some simulated training work, and enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
And that pardon?
What's involved in that?
We're actually exposing journalism students. It's for the most part their first time interviewing people who have been traumatized.
Ooh.
And it's it's not that big a thing. It's like an apartment fire or an explosion in a neighborhood.
But it's the kind of thing that a journalist would regularly encounter.
They would encounter.
Right.
So it's really I find it very rewarding work, but you have to be really real. I mean, it has to come off as real to them.
Yeah.
And it actually comes off as real to all of us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just did it a few weeks ago, and when I got through with the first, we do like 4 interviews in a row. When I got through the first interview, I was like, because I find out, well, if they tell me, they know that my son has been injured, and some of them will tell me, some of them won't. And this they told me, and then of course I kind of freak out, and I literally felt freaked out.
Wow.
So
okay. Yeah.
that's it has to be that real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of have to put yourself into that character, whatever that character is.
You put yourself into that character, and it's very real in the moment for you and for them.
I when we were doing the short serial, the only 2 episode serial that we did, at one point, I was not intending to play any of the roles at all, but at one point we were auditioning people for roles, and we need people to fill in to play the other roles so they could have somebody to play against. And the person who was supposed to be there, a male for a particular male role, wasn't there. I was the only male there. So
oh no!
You got to play the role. I said, "Oh, all right." So I played the role, and they said, "Whoa, that was great." I was like, "Oh, okay." What did I do?
Yeah, you were in the moment. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And all I did was just think to myself, okay, what kind of a bastard is this guy? Let's see if I can be that way.
Yep. Yep.
Which, as I understand it, that's one of the most fun parts about being an actor. The actors love the bad guy roles because they get to do things they can't normally do and get away with it.
Yes. And get away with it. Yes. That is true. I mean, I find acting that way anyway. You can be so many different things that you would never be, or say things that you would never say, or and that's it's very fun. I think a lot of people don't seem to realize it's a job though, and it's hard work.
Yes.
And we may be up there having fun, but we're working hard at it.
It's both, yeah.
But the thing is, you're not supposed
to a cast party after a production is done. You can see it firsthand because I've been to a couple of cast parties, and you can see it, you can hear it, you can feel it, you can taste it. Yeah. It's in the air. It is pungent. It is powerful. Yeah. Because they worked really, really hard. They had a great deal of fun. They connected like nobody's business. I mean, huge levels of connection. And if they were doing work that was particularly dysfunctionally, the stories that were dysfunctional or characters that were dysfunctional, then they were also doing a lot of laughing to overcome it. Yeah. Which I found to be fascinating. I thought it was very healthy, first of all, but I mean, fascinating that they would use laughter to overcome, the trauma.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to, if you're especially having an intense scene. I used to do a character that had to cry. And I mean, this was not crocodile tears. This was like full on.
I'm in pain. Yeah.
Pain, and you end up just emotionally wrung out. So, I remember before I ever had to do something like that, I was in a play where an actress had to do that on stage. And I remember that you didn't speak to her for several minutes after she came.
Really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very draining, and it can be very upsetting. Like when I was doing that mother who finds out her son is injured in the explosion when we're doing those interviews. I after we finished that first interview, I was shaking. So, So,
that's one of those things that I always thought was a little bit of a push me pull you, because on the one hand, you want to be a good actor, you want to be able to portray that role. On the other hand, you can pay a fairly high price for it.
You can. Yeah. I think that you need to learn how to decompress after, and that's why people laughing about it or talking about it, or it's part of the decompression. So
it's kind of like the therapy that comes after the show.
Yes, it is. It is.
It's so interesting how this context, this conversation really mirrors life in terms of the law of attraction. Like you said something, Kris, at the very beginning, living truthfully under, I think, imaginary circumstances.
Yes.
Yeah. And isn't that our lives? Because what is real? What is absolute?
Yeah.
We're we're given the ability to constantly change our perspective and our perception on things. So that's really, we're acting in our daily lives. We just didn't know. And then we don't have a big cast party after to release the tension.
No, that's
good.
Which maybe we should be doing that. Maybe that needs to be like the prescriptive way to deal with this kind of stuff in society. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be interesting? You're at work, you have a fight with your boss, and your boss humiliates you in front of everybody. And then your boss and you and everybody, they go off to a bar and say, "Wow, that was a great scene. We really did that."
But you know what? I find a lot of men are like that, where like, well, my husband is for sure, where he can have a moment where he's like, bah! And angry, and then sup,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Yeah.
Hey, love you.
Yeah.
Like, what? No, I'm still mad.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet, but he's just
Yeah.
over it. No big
Oh,
deal.
yeah.
Move
Yep.
on.
Lines come from like, who are you and what have you done with my husband?
Yeah. Now I just ignore those moments, or I just like, I don't even participate in them. I just step back because I know they're going to be over so quickly. What's the point of jumping in there, getting involved?
Yeah.
Have you ever done any acting, Jody Lynn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, ish, like not professionally or anything, but I did singing when I was a kid and was in like different, like I was classically trained, so we had to do like certain competitions or whatever. The
Wow.
competitions would be classical music, and then there was also musical theater, and I really liked the musical theater side of things. The classical, I can sing really well when I'm not myself. But as soon as I was like myself and it was a classical piece, I would just butcher it. It was really bad. What I could really sing when it was the musical theater side of things, I'm not really sure why, because it wasn't me. I don't know. And then I did some musical theater classes and acting classes. That's what I wanted to do. But unlike the two of you who didn't listen to people who were like, you're not creative and you can't do it, I had people in my life that were like, you're not going to make any money as an actress. Like, you should probably find something else to do. And I agreed with that. I was like, okay, yeah, this isn't, I don't live in a big city or, on one of the coasts where actors live, and I am probably never going to go anywhere with this. And so I just quit.
So you went into financial services, which absolutely has no acting in it, right? Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all. Oh man, absolutely. I mean, but I come from it's not a real showbiz family, but I'm going to call them that, the showbiz family, as much as you can, from Alberta, Canada. Like my dad is a rodeo announcer. So yeah, so
that's a real skill.
Yeah, he's got an amazing voice, and does that for his hobby in the summertime. That's what he was doing for a long time. And then my brother was a rodeo clown professionally for several years.
Wow.
Yeah, so I got to perform in a couple of his shows until I didn't like that anymore.
That sounds a little scary.
Well, I didn't go in at like the dangerous times. It was more of just like the intermission when you're doing a clown act.
Oh yeah, they're doing the little entertainment bit.
Yeah,
keep the crowd. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that wasn't my jam or my thing. So I was happy to step away from those things.
Now, if they'd had you sing something in that character, that might have worked.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't.
Maybe they should have made you Calamity Jane or something.
Maybe. I mean, I had a pretty strong idea that if I wanted to participate, I wanted to be the star, and my brother was clearly the star in that realm, and I think that's really why I walked away. But I love public speaking. I used to do a lot of public speaking for my job. And
oh, cool!
I love that, and so I've done a little dabbling, but nothing crazy. I've told that I have a sexy phone operator voice, so I should do voiceover. Yeah. I've thought about it.
Singing is like I say, it's good training for doing voiceover. So yeah. I know. I also like to speak. I didn't like to speak in front of groups until I took acting lessons.
Really?
Yeah, I hated it. Oh, it was awful. I hated it. And then I started taking acting lessons, and then I was asked to give some little minor talk at where I was working, and I marched up there and started talking and went, wait, what happened?
I'm doing it.
Poof, it was gone. It was gone. All the anxiety and stuff that you still get nervous, but the terrible anxiety, the awful, it was gone.
Yeah.
So yeah. Acting,
well, I know what you mean. I recall the first time I gave a public talk, and I remember being really nervous leading up to it, but also feeling oddly confident, which is, like I said, it's odd because I'd never given a public talk before.
Mhm.
I remember the first 20 seconds or so was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And then it was the same kind of thing you just described. Suddenly it clicked in place. And I think the reason it clicked is they hadn't all gotten up and walked away.
Oh.
That's why the little mental games we play with ourselves and don't even realize we're playing.
Yeah.
Welcome to our show. You are the first contestant.
Yeah.
So we have a sense of what you love and how you got there. But these days, I mean, you mentioned that you're currently a candidate for this particular PSA. But are there any particular career paths that you're following? Do you have like a dream gig that you'd like to get, a role you'd love to get, or something that you're aiming at?
Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm attached right now to an animation project.
Oh,
a series. That's still in pre-production. So it's been there for a while. That happens.
Sure.
It actually does have some funding. It actually has a distributor.
Whoa.
But they're just trying to get it to the point where they can turn it over to the distributor to finish and fully fund it. So I've been waiting a while on that. That would be really exciting.
Yeah.
Because I'm a ongoing character in the series, and may do a few other voices too.
What kind of character? I'm curious.
I'm playing the wise woman.
The wise woman.
Yeah, the wise woman that guides the superhero cat.
Ah, okay. Well, every superhero cat needs a wise woman, so that's a good goal.
Yeah. So that's the most. I'm always looking to expand my abilities. I'd really like to grow my YouTube channel.
And
what
do you do with your YouTube channel?
Pardon?
What do you do on your YouTube? Is that part of the podcast, or is that something separate that
you're doing? Part of the podcast. The podcast is up on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
I publish weekly there. One of the new things, I'm collaborating with an author that I collaborated with in like 2017. I narrated one of her stories. She's a former stripper. So it's a very interesting story. She's also a wonderful writer, and that's what she does now. She's a novelist.
Oh, okay.
And so it was called Life with Captain, putting the boob in Boob Cruise.
Cool.
And it was a wonderful story. It was about 20 minutes, I think, maybe, which is kind of long for my podcast. I usually do 5-10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And we entered it in the outstanding storytelling category for the SOVAS, Society of Vocal Arts and Sciences competition.
Ooh.
And we were nominated.
Oh, congratulations.
Wow.
So that was really exciting. We didn't win. We lost out actually to a multicast.
Oh, okay.
Audio drama.
Oh, okay.
And Ed Asner was one of the actors.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I was in pretty good company here. So
that's like going to a pickup basketball game and finding out that you're playing with Michael Jordan on the other
team.
Yeah.
So, but that was so. She has written an autobiography about her time stripping. It's a wonderful book. And so I'm experimenting, turning it bits of each chapter into an episode on my podcast.
Very good. Yeah.
putting it out there as an ongoing story.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So,
Because honestly, we had a male stripper on the show a number of years ago. And some of the stories that came up, we had it on 2 or 3 times. The stories that came out of that were just hysterical.
oh yeah,
Absolutely hysterical.
yeah. So most of this book is funny. And she was actually in Hollywood. She was at the Playboy Mansion.
Oh, okay.
So she has some really good,
Yeah.
some really good, really great stories.
Yeah.
So,
I would
and
imagine.
most of it's humorous. A couple times it's kind of serious and scary, but so that's something new I'm trying. It's actually it seems to be working quite well. But I'd like to attract more female viewers to my YouTube channel because I mainly work with female writers. So I do some really wonderful male writers that I work with, but mostly female writers. So it's very female centric. But
well, you're on the right podcast. But somewhere around 60-70% of our listeners are female. So
great. Yeah. Yes, I have these wonderful stories that about, female writers, female adventures. So on my podcast, also do some shorts. So I do my own storytelling.
Okay.
Usually about something that's happened. We have an older dog. He's 14. So we're having some issues with him. Funny stuff like, the food that I fed him from puppyhood up until he was about 14, he ate without a problem. And then we lost his brother to cancer. And now all of a sudden he's like, I'm not eating that anymore. Now what do I feel? And sometimes it's like, you're eating that, I'm not giving you anymore. And he's like, I don't know.
That's like me with my cat, actually. He tends to go through fads and change of preferences, and so I'll stock up on the one that he's eating a lot, and then all of a sudden he'll stop eating it.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, come on.
Yeah. Totally.
But my newest challenge that has been really exciting is I was approached by a children's book author, and he had an illustrated book. It was mostly a picture book. It had a wonderful little story that went with it, but it's very short. And it's called One Night. And he said, can you do the audio on this? And I said, oh yeah, sure. And then he's like, can you put the pictures and the audio together? I'm like, yeah, I can do that. I know some basic video editing. I have to as an actor because everything's self-tape and I have to edit my auditions.
Oh, okay.
So I don't have any choice but to learn video editing.
So now I understand what you mean. Okay.
Yeah. So well, I'm going to take on this challenge. It's such a wonderful little story, and his illustrations were just fantastic. He's his own illustrator.
He is. Okay.
Yeah. So it's, and then he's like, oh, can you put this here and put this there? And I want to enter this in children's film festivals. I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay, sure.
All of a sudden I'm a little film producer. But hey, that's, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed, putting it together and learned more about video editing, and he was happy with the result. And he entered it in 3 competitions, and he's already heard back from one, and it won an award.
Wow.
That's awesome. Your little video editing skill.
My little video editing. And so that's been quite it's like, challenge myself to do something new, and
it paid off.
It paid off, and it was fun too.
Well, that's really the most important thing anyway. I mean, that's partly, it's the main reason why you do something like this.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's the main reason why we do this podcast. We want to enjoy ourselves. We want to have fun. We want to pass that vibration along to everybody else.
Yeah.
And it's also when you do your best work. So you got an award doing what was fun, not a surprise. You were doing your best work because you were enjoying it so much.
Oh yeah. It was really fun. It's, like I say, the story was wonderful. The illustrations were amazing. So yeah. So that's he's going to send me another one. So I'm going to be doing another one.
Okay.
And I'd like to do more of those. It's like, let's see, I think I need to, maybe approach some more children's authors about.
Yeah. Actually, we should probably take advantage and use that as a marker to say, well, somebody is listening and they have perhaps maybe they've written a novel like I have. Maybe they want to get something like this going. How do they reach out to you? Let's give them that information.
You can. Can always go to my YouTube channel, make a comment, and I always reply to all the comments. My website is kriskeppeler.com.
Okay.
And you can there's a place to set up consultations with me. You can listen to more of my work and learn a little bit more about all the things I do. I'm on social media, Instagram as Kris Keppeler, X, formerly Twitter, at Kris Narrates. Again, Kris Keppeler on LinkedIn. And I'm regularly out there, and anyone who'd like to contact me, I'm always happy to help.
So essentially, if it's a major social media, you're there.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, there
pretty
might
much
be missing there, but for the most part. Yeah. I don't think I heard TikTok, but other than that, yeah.
TikTok, no, not really.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
TikTokers are obsessed with stories, Kris. So
really?
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Lots of juicy stories I'm seeing these days. Ghost stories.
And they're short.
Yeah, and they're short.
Very short.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I follow a lot of I'm on TikTok. I watch a lot of the videos that come up on my feed are clips from different they might be podcasts, but also like YouTube shows. And then they clip up the story, and some of the ones that come up a lot for me are like ghost stories or like magical things or whatever. Yeah, but there's tons on there. People are hungry for stories. Maybe our TV isn't that good anymore. I don't know.
Was it ever? Let's be honest.
I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long are TikTok videos? Are really short, aren't they?
They can be up to 10 minutes long, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
They
Well, I thought they were shorter than that.
They expanded time because they want market share.
Oh, yeah.
But there's lots of people who have gone. Yeah, there's lots of people who have gone viral on TikTok with their own story, and like I think not the first one, but the first one that I really saw get successful is like it was Who Did I Marry or something, and it was all about a story. I didn't actually watch it, but it was like a 26-part story of this lady who she thought she married somebody, and they turned out to be somebody completely different than the person that they obviously married, and people were like eating it up.
I bet. Yeah.
I heard about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the more drama and whatever. I don't know. Isn't that what we're all craving? Is more experience, more? I don't know.
Yeah, everybody they might snub their noses at Real Housewives, but they can't help but watch it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I do.
They just they don't acknowledge it. I was visiting my sister. My sister was watching.
Right, exactly. I have no shame now. I'm like, oh yeah, I watch Love is Blind, all the trashy love shows. Yeah, I'm all for it. I want to see what's going on.
There's always lots of drama and that kind of
Give us the dirt. That's what it is. Give us the dirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
It's an odd thing too, because people want to see the dirt. They don't want to live it. They just want to see other people living it. Which is why theater is such a big thing, and theater and movies and all that. Yeah. And in fact, it's kind of bled over into politics and the economy and everything else. It's all like
everything.
Life. All of life is just filled with this stuff.
Yes.
The theater, dramatization.
I often felt that a corporation ought to have, how a theater has the comedy tragedy mask. I always thought a corporation should split that and put one or the other on their door, so you knew what you were encountering when you walked in the door.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
I like that.
Truth in advertising, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Or then again, if you see their advertising, you don't even have to know what the mask is. So maybe that's a little bit overkill. Who knows? So, Kris, this is fun. This is fun talking about this stuff. I'm curious. We've kind of talked about what you've done in the past, what you've done in your future, or what you're planning, what you're hoping to do in the future, and what you've been doing currently, including getting awards for doing children's stuff and so forth, which is really, really cool. I guess, God, which way do I want to go? I guess the question that goes in my mind is, to what degree do you find that this bleeds over into the rest of your life? I mean, in other words, how big is this in your life? Like for me with the podcast, I find that I do the podcast 3 times a week. So it's 3 hours a week I'm devoting to it.
Wow.
But I find that the energy of it carries over. And so I find myself thinking about it later on, and I find it influencing what I'm doing later on in the day, that kind of thing. And I'm wondering how much bleed over do you get from what you're doing?
I definitely get I get a feeling of satisfaction, that stays with me for at least a day or two after I've completed a job, and the client likes the job, and but it's really exciting when something wins an award.
Yeah.
I think that's going to bleed over for a few weeks, probably.
Although Robin Williams did a really interesting routine on that one, because he talks about how he won the Academy Award, and he says the Academy Award actually has a rather short half-life, because at first it's, whoa, you won the award, and then it's, hey, saw you won the award, and then, oh, wait a minute, you're Mork, aren't you? I mean,
yeah, you get identified with a character, and then that's that can be hard to.
So there isn't a real long half-life on awards, but they are satisfying.
Oh yeah, and
the good thing is they never take it away from you. Well, not never, but 99% of the time you get to keep it.
Yeah. So
which is a good thing.
Yeah. So it can be exciting, and that excitement, whatever I'm feeling coming off a shoot or a show, actually, I feel good for at least a day or two, if as long as things have gone well. If they haven't gone well, then I'm depressed for a day or two.
Well, I was going to say, it probably sticks either way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. And sometimes it's stressful because I'm in a giant juggling act. My mother just passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear.
And in July. And so all of a sudden I've been trying to juggle, finishing up that stuff and doing this stuff, and so then sometimes it gets a little stressful. It's like, okay, what am I going to do next, and where am I supposed to be, and did I miss something?
Right. Yeah.
So and it's hard to create if you're stressed.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah. So creativity and stress do not complement each other.
Not really well, no.
No.
They tend to blank out your brain is what they do.
They do. Yeah. So, but I'm getting towards the tail end of everything sorted out that way. So, and that's good because I've been getting, more work lately.
Which is great.
Which is great. Yes, it's wonderful. So
That's one of the best things you can do when you're in a grieving period is distract yourself,
Yes,
take
yes,
your mind off of.
yes. And I got to do that. I let's see. I voiced an earthworm.
Okay. All right, now we have to get. Excuse me. We have to get the dirt on this.
Yes.
It was for a children's educational video. And of course, they were using sort of cartoonish characters. And I was the earthworm explaining to kids about how the earth is put together. You know, the different layers of the earth. But I had to speak in kind of a funny voice for 10
Can we hear
minutes.
it?
That was not always easy.
Can we hear it? I want to hear an earthworm, please.
Well, this was Ernie the earthworm telling you all about the layers of the earth.
I love it. I love Ernie.
Yes.
We can see it on your face too. Just the way you voiced that, you were just filled with joy.
Oh yeah, it was fun. I love doing children's stuff, but staying in that voice for 10 minutes is
that's a harsh voice. That's a tough one.
That it was not easy. No.
Yeah.
So yeah, but nice challenge. You know, I learned something every time I do that. It's like, oh yeah, I can stay in this weird voice for quite a while.
Do you have to do what Robin Williams? I mentioned Robin before, so he's the one who comes to mind. When he was an actor, he and his wife would join him on set. He would do a scene. He would they would finish shooting for a bit, and then he and his wife would go sit quietly, and all they would do is sit there and hold hands. They wouldn't talk. Everyone knew to stay away from him. And then as they were getting closer to doing the next scene, he would get up and start being Robin Williams, getting everybody laughing. And then they do the next scene, and then he'd go take the break again. So he had his routine there.
Yeah. I'm some actors like to do warm-ups before they go on stage and stuff. I did that for a while, but I found just sitting and focusing, especially
focusing on the role.
Focusing on the role, focusing on your character, just sitting quietly was the most helpful.
Okay. So what do you when you're focusing, what are you doing? Are you like playing the role in your mind, or what are you doing?
You may be going over lines in your mind. You may be rethinking the last time you did the scene, what was working, what maybe didn't work, what would you like to try this time? And yeah, so it just depends on where you're at and where your character is at as to what you might be thinking about. But just being quiet and focused on, oh, I got to be ready to go soon, but not until they call me, and you're just focused. So yeah,
I'm just realizing too, I'm drawing a lot of my thoughts and inspiration from what I know about Robin Williams. So excuse me for doing the Robin Williams routine.
Oh, no, he was wonderful.
He was fabulous.
He was fantastic. Yeah.
One of the most fascinating things from my perspective is where his interest in not only comedy but also acting came from. It came primarily from his mother.
Oh.
His father was very not mean, but strict and very conventional and so forth. His mother was the cut up. And she used to tell him like even when he was growing up, he even gave an example, and I can't remember what the example was, but of like a little tiny bit of a joke into a nursery rhyme kind of a thing. And he instantly got that that's what she was doing. So now he knew, and he was also an only child. So now he knew what it would take to get his mom's attention. And the rest of his life was about trying to get his mom's attention, which of course she loved to give him.
Wow, yeah, I bet. Yeah. I'm also an only child, so yeah, I know how, but I didn't, both my parents were creative. My dad sang, but just in church choir, and he also made furniture.
Cool.
And my mother was a floral designer. So they were basically visual artists.
Okay.
And they were very surprised when they turned out a performing artist. It's like, where did this come from?
Well, it's an interesting question. Did you have a mentor or an adult influence that kind of helped you go
Nope.
that direction, or you just were following your own tongue? You're just like,
Following
okay, here I'm going.
my own. It started with the singing, which I did get from my dad.
Okay.
And I actually sang some with him in church. And then once I started taking lessons and got better, he wouldn't sing with me anymore.
Aw.
You were intimidating.
Yeah, I guess I got that. But yeah, that's but the singing turned into then the acting, and he never wanted to go that way. So it was
Right.
like, okay, where did this come from? We didn't expect this.
You were a trailblazer. That's all there is to it. You
Mhm.
blazed the trail.
Mhm.
Well, this has been a fun conversation. Let's
Oh,
do
yeah.
a little wrap up here. First of all,
Okay.
Jody Lynn, as you could tell, I'm not sure if you saw this, Kris, but Jody Lynn always takes notes, and the more notes that she takes, that's the indicator of how much she's enjoying it. She was taking a lot of notes.
Oh!
I'm anticipating that what I'm about to ask her to do, and she knows what I'm going to ask her, but what I'm about to ask her to do, she's probably going to be able to have a really good answer, because Jody Lynn is exceptionally skilled at tying together what our conversation is all about.
Wow.
Thank you.
So Jody Lynn, ready? Tie it together for us.
Oh, well, what I see today is, or what I've experienced in our conversation today is how acting and singing and, you know, our collective experiences that we've had in those areas, how they mirror life, and just a deeper appreciation of what that has gotten and what that has done for me in my own personal life. But something that I want to really focus on to bring this all together, because I think that there's a big lesson here for us today. And it came in 3 things. Kris, you said them all. Challenge yourself to do something new, which I think at any age, but especially as we age, we're told we can't do something, or that you shouldn't, or whatever. So how many people take those risks later on in life to do something new and challenging? So you're inspiring, Kris, that you continue to rise to the challenge and the occasion. You also said believe in yourself, which I think everybody needs to hear more now than ever before. And the last one, have fun. I think life is too short. So thank you for the reminder to have fun, and that you can do some of these things that maybe somebody told you couldn't. You don't have to believe them. And really, truly, like acting, you get to choose who you become in the next moment. And so thank you for that reminder today, Kris.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
And then I jump on toward the end to also throw my 2 cents in, which is people like you've discovered something in your life that makes a difference, and you want to share it with the world. And so you do. You do a podcast. You come onto our podcast. You're probably doing a bunch of others too as well.
Yes, I've done other I've guested more than several times. Yes.
And all the social media stuff that you're putting out and so forth. What I discovered is people who do like you do, who come onto this show, we're all putting out all this free content, and we're helping people with that free content in ways we don't even know about. I mean, sometimes we do. Sometimes they get in touch and they ask us stuff, and we work with them or whatever. But most of the time, we're sharing stuff they don't even hear about. They don't let us know what happened. They go off and do something that's something really great, and we never know. And it occurred to me that we don't get enough credit for that. So, Kris, on behalf of those people you've never met, never seen, never will meet, never will see, who you've been benefiting in ways you didn't even know about, on their behalf, thank you for what you're doing, because you're making a difference in this world.
You're welcome. You are very welcome. My pleasure.
And
I enjoyed it.
All over your face. It's very obvious. So thank you very much, Kris. Thank you, Jody Lynn, as usual. And thank you to our podcast listeners everywhere. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.